This week's Smart Book Chapter Review, Quiz, and Assignments cover Chapter 8, Organizational Culture, Structure, and Design, Building Blocks of the Organization, and Chapter 9, Human Resource Management, Getting the Right People for Managerial Success. You'll be required to complete the following assignments: the Smart Book Chapter Reviews for Chapter 8 and Chapter 9, the quiz for Chapter 8, Chapter 9, and the assignment, STAR interview, and the play pause it assignments. The assignments cannot be submitted past the due date and earn points, so be sure to complete them by the due date. So let's take a look here. We'll come down to week 4 and we'll select that. And then we have instructor guidance, and you're watching instructor guidance, and then we have the deep dive podcast for Chapter 8, Chapter 9. Those are good to listen to before you start on the chapter. It gives you a very good overview. We have the PowerPoint for 8, PowerPoint for 9, Smart Book for Chapter 8, and the quiz for Chapter 8, and the Smart Book for Chapter 9, the quiz for Chapter 9, and then we have the play pause it assignments here. And then lastly, we have the assignment STAR interview. So I'm going to open that up. And we're going to view the instructions. We'll come over here. We have a video to watch. This will give you some explanation of what the STAR interview method is and how you approach it. And you'll notice here I have STAR L, which L stands for learning. This is situation, task, activity, result, and then basically what you learned on it. And so what I'm going to have you do is watch the video. Then we're going to select this link, and you're going to have the top 50 behavioral questions. And so you can scroll down here, and this again will tell you a little bit about how to answer them and that type of thing. But once you get down here, you'll see the common behavioral interview questions and answers. So I want you to look at those, and then you'll have down here an additional 40 after you get past the 10. So you can use 2 of any of the 50 questions there. Now, I don't want you double dipping. I really don't want you to, of course, answer the same question twice. But if you can answer 2 different areas, like if there's one on leadership or maybe there's one on teamwork, select one from one category and one from another. That just makes it to where you'll have a better feel for what's going on. So you review those, and then you select your questions. And then we have the instructions here. This is what I want you to do. And I'm going to open the template here. And I want you to use the template. Use the template, use the template, use the template. That way I know you've answered all the questions, and I know that you followed the process here. It helps me grade quickly and understand what's going on. So here we have question 1. This is where you'll put the question that you selected for the first one. And then S. So this is where you will state what the situation was. Here's where you state what the task was. Here's what action you took or activity. This was your result. And then here is what you learned from this particular situation. Okay. Then we do the same thing with the second question. We'll pick a different one than the first one, and we'll go through and do that. Now, a little bit of guidance here. I want you to keep in mind when you're answering the questions, I want specific answers that deal with you personally. I've had students tell me that they would answer the question by using the STAR technique. They would describe the situation, then they would state the task, then they would perform the action, and then they would give a result, and then what they would learn. Okay, this is not the same as discussing the specifics. So instead of saying your situation, I'd describe the situation. So you would actually describe the situation. You would say something like, I was a server at Chili's and we were short-handed on the dinner shift. The manager became ill. and so on, so on, so on. So be specific about what it was. Also, don't assume that I know what you're talking about. Give me a complete answer, assuming I do not know who you are, what industry you work, or where you attended school, etc. This makes up the answer in a very understandable terms. For instance, in our example above, if you said, "We were swamped at work and the manager became ill," this doesn't let me have any idea if you work in food, retail, medical, or any other industry. Be specific without rambling. All right, so we have this is week 2 of the group project. You should have reviewed the instructor guidance here. You should have read the materials on the project. You should have listened to the podcast or watched the video podcast. You should have connected with members on Blackboard. You should have decided how to meet and trade information, so whether you're going to do that on Teams, Blackboards, or others. You should have completed the project interest form and submitted it to the team. And then you should have selected your group leader. You should have selected who is going to do the written part of the assignment, who is going to do the video part of the assignment, and who the team's team manager is, or who is going to handle the technology issues with that. That is what you should have now if you're staying up with the team schedule, which is found right there. That'll keep you on track. Now, it's pretty front loaded because you have to get everything done to give yourself time to complete the written project, the video project, and your personal and written evaluations. So this week, by the end of the week, you should have submitted your views on the case to the team. Advocate why you believe a certain view is a proper solution. This includes the legal, ethical, and human resource issues dealing with the project. Your team should select the ethical view to pursue with the understanding of the legal and human resource issues. And each member should submit their ideas on why and how the solution solves the ethical problem. This should be done fairly early in the week. This will give you time for each member to review all the information and touch base back with each other by the end of the week. So really by the end of this week, you should have a very good formation on how you're going to approach the ethical issue, what the legal ramifications are, and what the human resource issues are with that. So that's really all I have for instructor guidance this week. You can contact me using messages or by email, myers-d@mssu.edu.